अस्सलाम वालेकुम फ्रेंड्स, आप देख रहे हैं टैक्स दोस्ती रिपोर्टिंग वीडियोस. Every fan, every client of tax dosti is very important, and one of our clients asked us, a fan asked us that can you do these videos in English. So आज से हम अंग्रेजी में भी करेंगे और जहां जरूरत पड़ेगी मैं आपको उर्दू में भी समझाऊंगा और प्यार से भी समझाऊंगा. तो you're watching tax dosti videos. And the purpose of Tax Dosti is for every taxpayer as well as for every tax consultant to understand the tax law better. Because Tax Dosti's mission statement is building our nation's tax character one taxpayer at a time. Today, we'll be discussing Section 7E, that is tax on deemed income. And we'll be discussing it in the context of a article by Dr. Ikramulhaq. Dr. Ikramulhaq is my teacher and a teacher of many people, and he is the leading authority in Pakistan on taxation, be it indirect tax or direct tax. Dr. Ikramulhaq published December 2nd, 2022, and the interesting thing about this, and it is published in the Business Recorder, which is the leading business newspaper of Pakistan. It is published today. Today is 2nd of December 2022. Interesting thing about this article is that Dr. Saab, without fail, publishes every article not only in his name, but in his with his name, his wife's name, and also with other professionals. But this article has been published, and I'm seeing such an article for the first time where only Dr. Saab's name is written. Dr. Saab की जो firm है, उसका नाम है Huzaima, Ikram, and Ijaz. Huzaima is the name of the Mrs. of Dr. Ikramulhaq, and Ijaz Saab is my teacher and the third partner of Dr. Saab. So this article, its title is Legal Function, Section E, Legal Fiction, Section 7E, and the Constitution. So we'll be talking about what is legal fiction and Section 7E, that is tax on deemed income, and Constitution of Pakistan 1973. So we'll start. The Ilahi Cotton case, it is the most misunderstood and misapplied judgment, makes absolutely clear that any item to be taxed should rationally be capable of being considered as income of a citizen, taxing what is not income. Business Recorder, December 11th, 2020. ये डॉक्टर साहब का प्रीवियस आर्टिकल है और प्रीवियस ईयर का 2020 का. और इलाही कॉटन केस, दिस इज अ वेरी वेल नोन tax case, and in this case the powers of the parliament or the legislature have been clearly defined, that how far can a parliament of Pakistan, legislature of Pakistan, tax the people of Pakistan. जिसका मतलब है कि ये जो केस है इसमें ये बात क्लियरली बताई गई है कि वो स्कोप क्या है, यानी कितने हद तक, किस हद तक जाके किस किस चीज को इनकम कंसिडर करके टैक्स लगाया जा सकता. सो द स्कोप ऑफ टैक्स and the scope of the word income has been defined. That's why Dr. Saab in this opening paragraph is writing that capable of being considered as income. So first of all, it's important to understand that the income tax law has the ability to tax something which we may not consider as income. एक एग्जाम्पल ये देख लेते हैं कि जब आप अपना टेलीफोन का बिल पे करते हैं, when you pay your telephone bill, an advance tax is deducted from your telephone bill, and as it is being deducted, the telephone expense, यानी कि आपके लिए तो वो टेलीफोन का खर्चा हो रहा है ना, आप अपना बिल पे कर रहे हैं, आपने मोबाइल या लैंडलाइन यूज की है, लेकिन वो एक्सपेंस को इनकम कंसिडर करके उस पर एडवांस टैक्स डिडक्ट कर रहा है, जो फिर बाद में आप क्लेम बैक कर सकते हैं. सो द पावर्स ऑफ द parliament, that is National Assembly and Senate of Pakistan, in case of taxation of income, are very wide. But having said that, they have a limit. यानी कि पाकिस्तान में किसी भी चीज को पार्लियामेंट कानून पास करके और इनकम टैक्स लॉ के थ्रू इनकम कंसिडर करके डिक्लेयर करके टैक्स उस पर लगा सकती है, लेकिन उसकी एक लिमिट है. यानी हर चीज जो है इनकम की डेफिनेशन में शामिल नहीं हो सकता. So the first point to understand is that in any tax jurisdiction, the definition of income will be very wide. And income, here we are talking about the income of a citizen or income of a business or any person within a state. So the definition of income is very wide, but it has its limits. And in this article, we will see whether the current section 7E, tax on deemed income, where a person holding a immovable property, that is plots or files or a house or a flat, holding that for tax year 2022 has to pay a certain amount of tax on that value of that immovable property. तो बेसिकली टैक्स लगाया जा रहा है क्योंकि आप 30 जून 2022 को जो है एक प्रॉपर्टी होल्ड कर रहे हो और उसकी सर्टेन कंडीशंस हैं. अगर आप वो बीट कर रहे हो तो वो जो प्रॉपर्टी आप होल्ड कर रहे हो उसकी जितनी भी वैल्यू है, फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू, उसका 1% पे कर रहे हो. तो कैन द लेजिस्लेटर, कैन द पार्लियामेंट, सेनेट pass a taxation amendment or a finance act like this? In case Finance Act 2022 was passed, where this section was incorporated into tax law, where the holding of an asset has been taxed by the government, considering that if a person holds an asset, he is deemed to be earning income. Deemed means that he will be considered to earn income from that immovable property. आगे चलते हैं जी. ये इलाही कॉटन को ज़हन में रखते हुए हम बात कर रहे हैं कि इस केस के जो 1997 में हुआ था, this case इलाही कॉटन case was decided in 1997, and after that the government has tried, different governments have tried to tax people differently. The most recent case is now of Section 7E. Recent detailed judgment of Sindh High Court holding the newly inserted provision Section 7E in the Income Tax Ordinance 2001 by the Finance Act 2022 being intra-virus of the Constitution of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. So if you are new to tax law, I will explain these terms first, then I will explain the meaning of this paragraph. So recently in Finance Act 2022 was passed in June 22, and it became effective from 1st July 2022 till 30th June 2023. So every year Finance Act enacts different taxes as well as changes different tax rates in the Income Tax Ordinance 2001. So basically, the law was challenged in the Sindh High Court, and the Sindh High Court decided that the Section 7E inserted in this law is intra-vires of the Constitution. That is, the power exercised by the Parliament in taxing your immovable property that you hold on 30th June 2022, the Parliament had the power. It was within the constitution. Intra vires means that within the constitution of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. तो सिंध हाई कोर्ट अपना फैसला दे चुकी है, और जिन्होंने अपील की थी, पिटिशन दाखिल की थी सिंध हाई कोर्ट में, उनको जवाब मिल गया है। और वो जवाब ये है कि ये जो आपके पास इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी है सेक्शन 7E में, अगर कोई शख्स होल्ड करता है टैक्स ईयर 2022 में 30 जून 2022 को, और वो सारी कंडीशंस वो पूरी करती है, और वो 2,50,00,000 से ज्यादा की होल्ड कर रहा है, तो उसको टैक्स पे करना होगा। क्योंकि जो टैक्स लगाया गया है वो टैक्स लगाने की पावर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में मौजूद थी, और कहाँ पे मौजूद थी अभी हम उस पे इसी पैराग्राफ में बात करेंगे। और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में मौजूद थी, और उस पावर को एक्सरसाइज किया है पार्लियामेंट ने, यानी कि नेशनल असेंबली में फाइनेंस एक्ट पेश किया गया, और फिर सेनेट ने भी उसको अप्रूव किया है, और इस तरह सेक्शन 7E जो है इंसर्ट हुआ है, और वो टैक्स ईयर 2020 मतलब फाइनेंस एक्ट 2022 में ऐड हुआ है, और वो टैक्स ईयर 2022 से ही एप्लीकेबल है। 23 के लिए तो है, 24 के लिए गोइंग फॉरवर्ड तो है। सो बेसिकली the Sindh High Court decided in favor of the government and has again ignited a countrywide debate as to what extent to Parliament can create legal fiction in respect of the term income, which means that for the income tax law, what are the different transactions that can be considered as income under the income tax ordinance. So there has this decision of the Sindh High Court has started this debate again, which was initially discussed when Ilahi Cotton case was decided in 1997. And for many years after 1997, this point was discussed that what all transactions can be considered as income. For example, if you get any amount from your brother or from your friend into your bank account, if he transfers money into your bank account, it does not mean that it is income. But if he has or she has given you money because you provided some goods and services to him, even if he's your brother or your friend, then that income will, that credit into the bank will be considered income. So every credit into the bank account or bank statement is not income. Similarly, all the transactions happening in Pakistan are not income. That means that if you get a sum of money, अगर आपको कोई पैसे देता है तो जरूरी नहीं है कि वो आपकी इनकम है। सपोज करिए आप बैंक से उधार लेते हैं, तो वो जो उधार है वो आपकी इनकम नहीं है। क्यों? क्योंकि बैंक आपसे 1 या 2 साल बाद वापस ले। सो इफ यू टेक लोन फ्रॉम द बैंक, it is not your income and it will not be taxed. Another thing that commonly comes is if you send a family remittance, that is, if you send from outside of Pakistan to your bank account or to your brother's or family's bank account, that amount automatically does not become taxable under the income tax law. Similarly, if because it is family remittance, it is not any amount that you have received against providing goods and services. You have just earned the money in another country where you may have paid tax on it, or it may be tax free, like in the Middle East, and now you have remitted that amount to your own bank account in Pakistan or to one of the bank accounts of your family members. If you send to an unknown person, then that amount can be suspected as income and you may be avoiding tax on that. But that is a separate discussion. Here we are discussing, हम बात कर रहे हैं कि इनकम की क्या क्या शक्लें हो सकती हैं. Now another example is, for example, if you have a business and you provide services and goods, then any amount coming from your client is your income, and it may be taxed on gross basis, which is called final taxation, or it may be taxed on net basis, which is called normal taxation. So In this paragraph, Dr. Ikramulhaq is asking the question and putting this statement in front of us. हमें वो बता रहे हैं कि जो इस्लामिक रिपब्लिक ऑफ पाकिस्तान है उसके अंदर एक एंट्री है जो फेडरल लेजिस्लेटिव लिस्ट में है, जो बेसिकली कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का फोर्थ शेड्यूल है। आगे आप इस तरह समझे कि जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है उसमें मुख्तलिफ आर्टिकल्स हैं 1 2 3 4 5 6 260 तक, और उसके बाद फिर मुख्तलिफ टेबल्स हैं, स्केड्यूल्स हैं या लिस्ट्स हैं। उसके अंदर जो फोर्थ लिस्ट है, उस फोर्थ लिस्ट के अंदर एंट्री नंबर 47 है जो पार्ट 1 में है, और ये फेडरल लेजिस्लेटिव लिस्ट कमाती है। और इसमें लिखा हुआ है कि फेडरल गवर्नमेंट टैक्स लगा सकती है ऑन इनकम एक्सेप्ट एग्रीकल्चर इनकम। तो अगर इफ यू हैव read the Constitution of Pakistan, or if you have not read the Constitution, basically this paragraph is telling you that the initial power to tax income comes from the Constitution of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, and that is placed in the Constitution in the fourth schedule in a table after all the articles, all the sections of law are complete. A list, a fourth list, and in that fourth list, in part 1, which is the federal legislative list, which means that these are the powers of the federation or the government sitting in Islamabad, which means the parliament and the National Assembly. And in entry number 47, it says that the parliament can tax the income of persons in Pakistan, be they citizens or be they foreigners. So it can tax the income of, it can tax income, but it cannot tax agriculture income. So the provincial governments in Pakistan, for example, Punjab government, Sindh government, tax the agriculture income just because the structure of the constitution is such. Now the question Dr. Saab is raising is that whether the term income includes this income which is being deemed under section 7E. And what is that income? The logic is that if you hold an asset and some of the capital assets, or rather, exactly speaking, immovable property, some of the immovable property has been excluded from section 7E, which means that your own house, your own business premise, and some other assets will not be considered for section 7E. But other than that, just as in Pakistan, mostly people invest in real estate, and in real estate, they invest, normally people invest in files that are documents that are claims to property, which means that they buy files when the society, when the housing society or the commercial society is developing. And since they buy that file, that document at a very low price, they are hoping that once finally that housing society or that commercial area has been developed and all the plots and area have been marked, so we will get a plot here which will be of more value. And then once the file becomes, or that documents become a plot, that plot price starts to increase over time. So people try to get in the housing or the commercial property market in Pakistan at the time when a housing or commercial project is announced, and we only know the general area where it is located in the city or out of city, and the only document that you get are files of plots, which means that they are claims that in future in this specific area of the city or out of city, you will get a certain area that is maybe the 5 marla, 10 marla, or 1 canal plot. So people try to buy that document, which is cheap since the project has not started. As the project proceeds, the value of that file increases, then it becomes a plot. And if you construct a house on it, the price keeps moving on. And when you sell it, you can make a big capital gain. So since most of the people are investing in real estate, the government decided to tax the immovable property held by the different resident as well as non-resident Pakistanis. But just remember that this section does not apply at all on a person who is a non-resident during tax year 2023 and even for 2022. So if you are non-resident, you don't have to worry because your assets, even if they exceed the limit, will not be taxed under section 7E. जी, तो बेसिकली जो फाइल है, प्लॉट कैसे बनता है, वो सारा प्रोसेस आप लोगों को पता है। यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट ने कहा कि चूंकि बहुत लोग फाइलें खरीद रहे हैं, प्लॉट खरीद रहे हैं, तो क्यों ना वो जो है कैपिटल एसेट यानी इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी जब आप बेचते हैं और परचेज करते हैं तब तो आपसे टैक्स कटता है, अब होल्ड करने पे भी जो है ना इस पे टैक्स लगाया जा रहा है। तो यहाँ पे डॉक्टर साहब कह रहे हैं कि ये जो होल्ड की जा रही है प्रॉपर्टी, इसके से अज्यूम किया जा रहा है, यानी कहा जा रहा है कि जी ये जो प्रॉपर्टी आपके पास है इससे आपको इनकम आ रही होगी। अब घरों से तो समझ आती है कि हो सकता है लोगों ने रेंट पे दिए और बताया ना हो, लेकिन प्लॉट आप ऐसे किराए पे नहीं दे सकते। तो बेसिकली जिन लोगों ने बहुत सारे प्लॉट या फाइलें होल्ड की हैं, जो प्लॉट्स बनेंगी, उनको काफी सारा टैक्स देना पड़ रहा है इस साल टैक्स ईयर 2022 में। इसीलिए ये सिंध हाई कोर्ट में भी चैलेंज हुई थी और ये अब लाहौर हाई कोर्ट में भी है, जब उस पर भी मैं बात करूंगा। लेकिन इस पैराग्राफ को समझना जरूरी है अगर आप समझना चाहते हैं कि मेन प्रॉब्लम क्या, और जो रेट्स वगैरह है वो भी मैं बता देता हूँ। The basic tax rates are that if you have a property that is valued, that whose value is, or have a bunch of properties that have a value of more than 25 million. Suppose that you have properties as at of 30th June 2022 worth 70 million. So that 70, after excluding properties that have been given legal cover and have been excluded. So basically, you have when you on 70 million, you will first calculate how much how much income you have supposedly earned, because this is legal fiction. Legal fiction is that actually you may not have earned any even a penny on the plots that are worth 770 million. But legal fiction means that the law is considering, it is assuming that these plots or these houses or any immovable property that you have declared that is worth 70 million rupees have earned income. So first of all, you'll take the fair market value of these properties. Maybe they you may have declared them as 70 million, 7 crore पे शायद आपने शो किया, you may have showed it as 70 million, 7 crores in your wealth statement, but the FBR value for them may be 90 million or they may be 60 million. So for example, 90 million is the fair market value. In other words, it is the FBR value of your properties, which you can see on their website in their table given for immovable valuation of immovable property. So 90 million will be the base value or the amount on which you will calculate the income. The income will be calculated like you will multiply 90 million with 5%. You will assume that on 90 million, you have earned 5% of income. I'm repeating this calculation because maybe you have not seen our previous videos on section 7E. If you go to Tax Dosti YouTube channel, and you will see different videos as this case has progressed since July 2022. We have been making different videos. Welcome जी, welcome to Zoom meeting. आज की जो मीटिंग है वो अंग्रेजी में भी है, उर्दू में भी चल रही है. आपका अगर कोई क्वेश्चन हो तो आप चैट में टाइप कर सकते हैं. And in order to be part of this live Zoom meeting, which is then recorded and uploaded on YouTube Tax Dosti channel, there are two WhatsApp groups. One is Tax Dosti WhatsApp group, and the other is Tax Master class, which I administer. You can text me on WhatsApp. My WhatsApp number is, if you are texting me from within Pakistan, 0321 4409 009. And if you are outside Pakistan, you can text me on my WhatsApp number at +92 321 4409 009. And you can just request to be added, which is free of cost, and I can add you to Tax Dosti group. In that group, on every Friday afternoon, I share this Zoom meeting where you can then join me at 5:30 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time on Friday. So I was saying that what is the rate at which this tax will be calculated? So assuming you have a property that you have declared at 70 million at cost in your wealth statement, then, and its fair FBR value, that is fair market value, is 90 million. So the law will assume that you have earned 5% of this 90 million as income, and on that amount you will apply 20% tax. So basically you will calculate, basically that will come to 1% of the fair market value. So in other words, you will pay 900,000 rupees as tax if you get this amount if the amount is 90 million, you will pay. Just give me a second. I will manage the participants that are coming. Let me see if ठीक है सही चले. So cancel कर actually. So this is what Dr. Ikramulhaq is stating in his article. We'll move on. The Sindh High Court dismissed the writ petition by way of its short order on October 28, 2022, and reasons for the same elaborated in its detailed order released on website. These dates seem to be mixed up. This may be November 26, 2022. It's written here September. So this may be a timing mistake. It is pertinent to mention. So we are moving on, और basically section 7E की जो petition सिंध हाई कोर्ट में दाखिल हुई थी वो रिजेक्ट हो गई है. इसका मतलब है कि 15 दिसंबर 2022 को जिन लोगों की काफी सारी प्रॉपर्टीज हैं और उनको 7E पे करना है और वो सिंध में रेजिडेंट है, टैक्स रेजिडेंट है, तो उनको अपनी रिटर्न वक्त पे फाइल करनी और साथ में सेक्शन 7E के जो टैक्स है वो खुद से कैलकुलेट करके जो टैक्स चार्जेबल वाला सेक्शन है उसमें कंप्यूटेशन में जाके एडमिटेड टैक्स से पहले वो खाना बना हुआ है टैक्स अंडर सेक्शन 7E, वहां फिगर लिख देनी है और उस मुताबिक टैक्स चालान पे कर देना है. तो अगर किसी की 90 मिलियन की प्रॉपर्टी बन रही है तो वो उसका 5% इनकम कंसिडर करेगा और उस पर 20% टैक्स लगाएगा, यानी कि एक तरह से वो फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू का 1% कैलकुलेट करेगा, यानी कि 90 मिलियन का वो लेगा 1%, तो वो आ जाएगा 9 लाख रुपए. आगे वो कहते हैं, the article says it is pertinent to mention that numerous writ petitions challenging section 7E are still pending in the Lahore High Court. So Lahore High Court is now listening to all these cases together. In these writ petitions, by way of interim order dated October 18, 2022, Lahore High Court has mentioned concession waiver given by the Federal Board of Revenue that extension in filing of returns by those affected by this provision would be allowed until the matter remains sub judice. The point here is that if you are in the province of Punjab, since the orders of Lahore High Court are applicable to all of Punjab, so if you think that Section 7E is affecting you and you are being charged this tax under Section 7E, so you can take by going to your concerned commissioner in your area and asking him for a extension till the time that Lahore High Court gives its judgment, which means that you still have time to file your return because the standard deadline has been extended to December 15, 2022. So you have about 14 more days. And if the Lahore High Court decides within these 14 days and it decides in favor of the government that the government has the power to levy this tax, then you have to pay. If it overrules, then you can file your return. If it does not decide till 15th of December 2022, you can go on the 15th or 14th, go to your concerned commissioner and get extension in writing from him till the time the decision comes. And I'm hopeful that it will come soon. And this relief was given by the Lahore High Court on October 18, 2022. For people in Sindh, this relief is not applicable because Sindh High Court has decided that the government has taxed the people rightly. Another thing that I will say for the record is, और मुझे उम्मीद है कि बाकी आप लोग भी फॉलो कर रहे हैं कि ये क्या फ्लो बन रहा है। तो इस आर्टिकल में हम इस डॉक्टर साहब के आर्टिकल में सेक्शन को देख रहे हैं कि भाई जो टैक्स लगाया है वो किस चीज पर है, सही है कि नहीं है। सिंध हाई कोर्ट ने तो कह दिया और अब लाहौर हाई कोर्ट का वेट हो रहा है और आगे डॉक्टर साहब और पॉइंट्स बताएंगे जो बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट है। क्योंकि याद रखें कि जितना काम डॉक्टर साहब ने लाही कॉटन केस के बाद टैक्स पे किया, उससे पहले भी, और उनकी बुक्स, कमेंट्री और वीकली जो आर्टिकल्स लिखते हैं, तो सबसे अप टू डेट और फ्रेश जो है फैक्ट्स जो है उनके माइंड में होते हैं, तो वो सारी चीजें लिख रहे हैं। तो इन दिस आर्टिकल what I wanted to point out is that initially when people petitioned the Sindh High Court as well as petitioned the Lahore High Court that this tax is wrong, the government does not have the power to tax. Most of the petitioners were referring to entry 50 of part 1 of Federal Legislative List of the fourth schedule of the Constitution of Islamic Republic of Pakistan. And in my previous videos, which were made in September and October, I stressed the need, after doing my research, that this tax is not a capital value tax under entry number 50. And all those people who are arguing that this tax is unjustified under entry 47 should correct their petitions, and it should be filed under entry 47, because the main point is that we are discussing whether this in holding a immovable asset and the government assuming that you have earned 5% income on your 90 million worth of immovable property, does this constitute income? Or are they stretching the word income or the definition of income too much? So this is the main point of contention or the legal point to be discussed and finally to be decided by the Supreme Court. So I'm happy that Dr. Saab has correctly, as he is the best person to point us in the right direction, is correctly pointed out that entry 47 is the main topic of discussion. Though in the article going forward, he will mention an entry number 50, but let's see. My own opinion is that all cases should be fought on entry 47, part 1, because it says that it is the power of the federation to tax income of persons other than agriculture income. ठीक है जी, आगे चलते हैं. It has created an anomalous situation for taxpayer falling in the jurisdiction of Sindh High Court and Lahore High Court. This extension to the people of Punjab has created a problem, since this benefit is not available to people of Sindh, not because of the government, but because of the decision of the Sindh High Court. And in case the Supreme Court of Pakistan does not suspend Sindh High Court's order before the filing of income tax returns within the extended dates, which means that Dr. Saab is suggesting that Supreme Court should temporarily suspend the judgment of Sindh High Court on Section 7E if the Lahore High Court does not decide before or on December 15th, 2022. Then basically one province will be at the taxpayers of one province, Sindh province will be at a disadvantage. So it is a duty, responsibility of Supreme Court. So Dr. Saab is basically drawing our attention to this point. The taxpayers in the Sindh province will be required to pay this tax, while those falling in the jurisdiction of Lahore High Court, which is basically Punjab, will enjoy the stay offered by FBR until the matter is finally decided. So there should not be any injustice. So this is a good point, and let's see what the Supreme Court does in these coming days. Achha. Now these paragraphs are very important, and I have to confess that since I too am a student of Dr. Saab and a student of tax law, so I may miss out some important point, but I will try to explain what these main points are, which Dr. Saab has pointed out in this article. ये जो अभी पैराग्राफ्स हम पढ़ने लगे, ये बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, और कोशिश करूंगा कि मैं एक्सप्लेन कर सकूं, लेकिन ऑब्वियसली मेरी भी एक्सपर्टीज की एक लिमिट है, जैसे गवर्नमेंट की एक लिमिट है टैक्स लगाने की. तो लेट्स सी. बाकी आप क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं यूट्यूब चैनल पे भी और वैसे भी व्हाट्सएप पे भी, तो डिस्कशन, आई होप के डिस्कशन से चीजें मजीद क्लियर होगी. The article by Dr. Saab says that a holistic reading of the impugned section, Section 7C, shows that in pith and substance, it is a tax on the fair market values as defined in Section 68 of the Ordinance of the Immovable Property situated in Pakistan, held on the last date of the tax year by a resident person. It imposes tax of 20% on deemed income, an amount equal to 5% of the fair market value, if in aggregate the value of assets is more than 25 million. So Dr. Saab is saying that the main emphasis or the main focus or the point, the taxable point, is the fair market value. That is the of the immovable property. That is the immovable property value is being taxed, and Section 68 deals with this point, that every immovable property situated in Pakistan for calculation of tax purpose, for calculation of tax, will be the FBR values as declared by them for different cities and for different areas within a city. So this is the main pith and substance, means that this tax is being calculated and it is a tax on the fair market value of the property. There is absolutely no doubt that the impugned section represents capital value tax. Dr. Saab is saying that the tax is on the capital value of the asset, on immovable property, and not tax on any income derived from it. There is no nexus of an amount equal to 5% of the fair market value of capital assets, meaning immovable property, with the expression income as used in entry 47 part 1 of the federal legislative list of the constitution, even in its widest possible scope import. Such a tax cannot be imposed under entry 50 part 1 of federal with article 77 and 142A of the constitution by the federation after the constitution 18 amendment, called as the 18th amendment. So I'll explain this in first in English and then in Urdu, and just pray for me, मेरे लिए दुआ करें कि इस मुश्किल बात को मैं समझा सकूं. Dr. Saab is saying in this paragraph, and overall this is the main theme of his article, that this is a capital value tax, just because there is no the legislative, the parliament, while inserting section 7E in the income tax ordinance, and the wording of the section do not clearly show that there is any link between the immovable property and the income that is being taxed. There is no nexus of the fair market value and income, and that income, that deemed income, वो जो 5% वो कह रहे हैं कि आपकी इनकम है, बेशक वो प्रॉपर्टी प्लॉट आपने होल्ड किया हुआ है, उस प्लॉट को आपने किराए पे नहीं दिया, वो कमर्शियली यूज नहीं हो रहा, प्राइवेटली यूज नहीं हो रहा, बस वो एक प्लॉट है, तो गवर्नमेंट कह रही है कि नहीं 5% इस पे आपने इनकम कमाई है, हम कंसिडर कर रहे हैं. तो बेसिकली जो है जी अच्छा ठीक है. हाँ, तो मैं तकरीबन जो है उन्हें क्या 25 मिनट्स में फ्री हूँ. ठीक है, थैंक यू. अच्छा, तो बेसिकली the tax section 7E, the words do not show that the property and the income that is assumed that that property is earning, there is no link between them. So entry 47 cannot be used. The power given in entry 47 cannot be used, since it can only be used for things that are income, or that things that can be considered as income, and it cannot be taxed under entry 50 of part 1 of the same list, since it is the capital value can only be taxed by the provinces, not by the federation. तो उर्दू में इसका कुछ खुलासा ऐसा बनेगा कि ये जो इनकम का वर्ड यूज हुआ है एंट्री नंबर 47 में, उसमें ये वाली इनकम शामिल नहीं है जो ये अज्यूम कर रहे हैं कि उस प्लॉट पर जो आपके पास था उसमें बैठे बैठे आपको आया, तो वो इनकम इसमें शामिल नहीं हो सकती. और दूसरी तरफ वो जो एंट्री नंबर 50 है, वो कहता है कि कैपिटल वैल्यू पे फेडरल गवर्नमेंट टैक्स लगा सकती है, लेकिन अगर इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी की बात हो रही है तो उसके कैपिटल वैल्यू पे फेडरेशन नहीं, प्रोविंसेस टैक्स लगाए. ठीक है. Furthermore, under entry 50 of the federal legislative list, the parliament can only resort to taxes on capital value of asset, not included taxes on immovable property. So this is the exact wording of entry number 50. By now, you must have understood that in order for the tax law of Pakistan to function, which means that income tax law, sales tax, excise duty, service tax law, any tax law to function in Pakistan, the Constitution of Pakistan in its fourth list, which is called the fourth schedule, and part 1 is called the federal legislative, that item should be mentioned, or that income should be mentioned in this list in any of the entries 47, 50, 48, and then the parliament can make a law and then implement. since the income tax law is already made since 2001, this section 7E has been included, and now it is being challenged that the parliament does not, the constitution does not give the parliament any power to tax the income of the resident Pakistani in such a way. तो बेसिकली आर्ग्यूमेंट ये हो रही है, और मैं भी यही चीज एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूँ कि डॉक्टर साहब ये कह रहे हैं कि ना तो एंट्री 47, ना तो एंट्री नंबर 50 जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर 4th शेड्यूल में एक लिस्ट है, और उसमें भी पार्ट 1 में फेडरेशन की पावर्स दी हैं कि फेडरल गवर्नमेंट इन चीजों के बारे में कानून बना सकता है। तो कानून तो इनकम टैक्स का बना हुआ है, लेकिन उसमें सेक्शन 7E जो फिट किया है वो ना तो एंट्री 47 उसकी इजाजत देता है, ना एंट्री 50 उसकी इजाजत देता है। Since in the pith and substance, ये एक टेक्निकल, दिस इज टेक्निकल वर्ड, the impugned section यानी section 7E levies tax on immovable property treating 5% of the fair market value as deemed income. It falls outside the legislative competence of the parliament as the right to impose any kind of tax on immovable property exclusively vests with the provincial assemblies under Article 142C of the Constitution. डॉक्टर साहब कंक्लूड कर रहे हैं कि ये जो पावर है 47 में भी नहीं है, 50 में भी नहीं है, तो ये पावर ऑटोमेटिकली 18th अमेंडमेंट यानी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में जो 18वीं तरमीम हुई थी उसकी वजह से ये प्रोविंसेस की तरफ आ गए, तो वो इस तरह का टैक्स लगा सकते हैं फेडरेशन। अच्छा जी, अब आगे चलते जी। डॉक्टर साहब एक आपको कंप्लीट हिस्ट्री दे रहे हैं। डॉक्टर साहब इन दिस आर्टिकल इज गिविंग यू अ कंप्लीट हिस्ट्री ऑफ taxation of immovable property, which means not only income tax, he's also talking about property tax and other type of taxes related to immovable property. The Punjab Assembly correctly read entry 50 of Federation list and levied tax on gain of immovable property through section 9 of Finance Act 2013. See detailed discussion in another article. Dr. Sab has clearly explained that the provinces can tax in this manner the immovable property of the people, and that article is called Constitutionality of Capital Gain Tax (CGT) on immovable property. Business Recorder, July 15, 2011, and you can find this article on Business Recorder website on which we are, and we are reading Dr. Ikramulhaq's entry article on this very important topic. Tax on gain of immovable. Who is violating the Constitution? This is the complete article. Business Recorder, March 14. This is the second article. Tax on gain of immovable property. Who is violating the Constitution? So basically, Dr. Saab has held this view for a very long time that the federal government is violating the Constitution by taxing immovable property through section 236C when you sell a property and you pay advance tax, and section 236K when you buy a property you pay advance income tax on it. Those two sections are also violating the Constitution according to the logic given in these two paragraphs regarding entry 47 and entry 50 by Dr. Ikramulhaq. तो ये जो आप सेक्शन 236C और 236K है, उस पे जो इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी पे भी जो टैक्स कटता है वो भी करेक्ट नहीं है, वो फेडरल गवर्नमेंट नहीं कलेक्ट कर सकती, और पंजाब गवर्नमेंट ने करेक्टली किया था। उसके बारे में डॉक्टर साहब ने प्रीवियस आर्टिकल्स में लिखा है, 2011 का भी है, 2014 का भी है, फिर 2017 का भी है, जिसका टाइटल है सर्विसेज एंड इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी। लेकिन गवर्नमेंट समहाउ जो है इन चीजों को अपने डिस्कशन का हिस्सा नहीं बनाती। तो अगर आप गवर्नमेंट के वकील हैं या आप टैक्स पेयर हैं जो ये वीडियो देख रहे हैं और आप गवर्नमेंट ब्यूरोक्रेट हैं, गवर्नमेंट से बिलोंग करते हैं, तो ये आर्टिकल्स की कॉपी प्राइम मिनिस्टर को, फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर को, सबको दिए और उन्हें कहें जी कंसिडर दिस। ठीक है जी। मूविंग फॉरवर्ड, दिस वाज this paragraph gave reference to the different articles that Dr. Ikramulhaq has written since 2011 after the 18th Amendment, but no government official or government department is understanding his point. Sindh High Court held that Section 7E intra vires of Constitution inter alia on the ground that legal fiction create an artificial state of affairs by a mandate of the legislation. They compel everybody concerned building, including the courts, to believe the existence of an artificial state of facts contrary to the real state of facts. So when the government won the case in Sindh High Court, and the Sindh High Court said that Section 7E is not against the Constitution. It is according to the Constitution. And in that, Dr. Saab is saying that the government gave facts that the government has, the parliament has the power, but in reality, the parliament does not have the power to tax such a thing and to consider it income, especially if a person is holding a immovable property, a plot, a house, and he is earning no income on it, genuinely. Then you cannot, the Constitution does not give the power to the parliament and to the executive government to tax this amount and consider that, assume that he has earned income on this. So basically, the government has misrepresented the facts in front of the court. So let's see what Lahore High Courts decide. When a fiction is created by law, now Dr. Saab is giving the principle of taxation. Now, how to consider something that is not income, consider it to be income, but staying within the principle of tax law. So when a fiction is created by law, it is not open to anybody to plead or argue that the artificial state of facts created by law is not true, bearing the only possible course, if at all available, is to question the constitutionality of the fiction. Basically, Dr. Saab is saying that when a law creates a fiction, which means that it creates artificial facts. Now, in this Section 7E, artificial facts are this, that the true facts are that you own a property, since you have self-declared your property worth 90 million in your, or 70 million in your wealth statement. Those are true facts. But the law through Section 7E is creating artificial facts. It is saying that on this property, you have earned income of 5%, which is being taxed at the rate of 20%, which is effectively making, the effective tax rate is coming to 1% of this fair market value of your property. So you own that property has a fair market value. Those are true facts. But the law is creating that you have earned income from this property, which are not true facts. These are legal facts or fiction created by the law. And it can only be challenged in the court of law, in Lahore High Court, Sindh High Court, and then in Supreme Court of Pakistan, that whether this fiction can be created by law or not. So this is the question. And for that, we are seeing that whether the Constitution has given this power to the government and the parliament. With due deference and utmost respect, this is the final conclusion of Dr. Saab in this article. It is humbly submitted that the issue relating to import and scope of the term income, the way income is defined, vis-a-vis misconception prevailing in the National Assembly, can declare anything income through the Finance Act passed as a money bill every year in terms of Article 73 to 77 and 142A, read with entry 47 or 52, Part 1 of the Federal Legislative List, 4 schedule to the Constitution, discussed in detail in taxing what is not income. I and taxing what is not income, part 1 and part 2, is ignored, perhaps not presented. The content of the above article and the following dictum laid down in the Ilahi Cotton Mills versus Pakistan case, reference citation is 1997-76, have been ignored by the legislation while enacting Section 7E of the ordinance, and due to lack of this assistance, the Honorable Sindh High Court also decided otherwise. So, let me explain. Dr. Saab is saying that with utmost respect, the definition of income cannot be expanded by a money bill that is passed in the National Assembly. The Constitution has to give clear guidance on the meaning so that then laws can be made. So what they have done, and Dr. Saab is challenging, is that the Parliament, while enacting Finance Act 2022, has defined the word income, and it has created artificial facts that people holding immovable property valuing more than 25 million have earned. Even if they have not earned, it has created the artificial facts that they have earned income of 5% on them, and they are then being taxed at the rate of 20%, which comes to 1% of the fair market value. तो आप डॉक्टर साहब ये कह रहे हैं कि ये जो फाइनेंस एक्ट 2022 में इनकम को डिफाइन किया गया है, और इनकम वो चीज जो एक प्लॉट या घर जिससे आपको आय नहीं और सिर्फ आप उस को होल्ड कर रहे हैं, होल्ड करने की वजह से कंसिडर किया जा रहा है कि आप इससे इनकम कमा रहे हैं, तो आप पे टैक्स लग गया है 20% के हिसाब से, वो जो बेसिकली उस प्रॉपर्टी के फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू का 1% बन गया। अगर आपके पास यानी 25 मिलियन या यानी 2 करोड़ 50 लाख की प्रॉपर्टी है तो आप पे ये टैक्स लग गया, और 5% का मतलब हो गया कि उसकी वैल्यू जो है 25 मिलियन की आ जाएगी 5 लाख, और 5 लाख पर जब आप 20% अप्लाई करेंगे तो 1 लाख रुपए टैक्स आ जाएगा। तो हर 25 मिलियन के ऊपर 1 लाख रुपए टैक्स लग गया है अगर आप 25 मिलियन की इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी होल्ड करें। तो डॉक्टर साहब कह रहे हैं कि फाइनेंस एक्ट में नेशनल असेंबली के पास ये पावर नहीं थी, ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में ये पावर क्लियरली गिवन होनी चाहिए, तब जो है ना बात बनेगी। और किस तरीके से इलाही कॉटन के केस के पॉइंट्स को वायलेट किया गया है और ये कानून लगाया गया, वो उन्होंने यहाँ पे एक्सप्लेन किया। मैं भी थोड़ी देर में आपसे इजाजत लूंगा जैसे ही आर्टिकल कंप्लीट होता है। The points overlooked which have been established in the Ilahi Cotton cases, legal fictions are limited for a definite purpose that cannot be extended beyond the purpose for which they are created. So legal fictions, artificial facts can be created, but they can be created in a limited case and they have a definite purpose. If one is to read entry 47 part 1 of 4 schedule to the Constitution of Pakistan 1973 in isolation without referring to entry 52, it can be argued that entry 47 does not admit the imposition of presumptive tax, as the expression taxes on income employed thereof should be understood as to mean the working out of same on the basis of computation as provided in various provisions of the ordinance. Dr. Saab is saying that if entry 47 and 52 are not read together, then income can only be those things that are defined in the income tax ordinance, like salary, business income, and capital gains and income from other sources. And then the concept of presumptive tax like minimum tax under section 113, where tax is collected not on your net profit, but on your gross sales during the tax year. So similarly, here also for section 113 was for businesses and is intact in the law. Similar thing has been tried by the Parliament now in section 7E, and they are not taxing the holding of immovable property by you according to section uh, 70, according to uh, uh, section 7E, and a presumption is made just as a presumption in section 113 is being made that your turnover is your income. There they have treated your business sales as your income for business persons or companies or AOPs. Similarly, here they have taken resident person and his or her holding of immovable property has been given a value, and it has been assumed that it has earned income. But in section 113, the sales consist part of the income is in the amount of sales. Whereas here the fair market value of is a illiquid thing, meaning that if you're holding a property of 25 million, that 25 million is not in your bank, but that 25 million is a value in the market of your property. So you don't have any cash or any other asset except that immovable property. So there, in the previous paragraph, Dr. Saab was explaining, there is no nexus of income. So presumptive tax can be levied, and this is section 7E is also a kind of presumptive tax, but there is no clear nexus like in section 113, and there are some other sections also which impose presumptive tax. I am guessing like section 148, tax on imports. So in this case, section 7E, there is no clear nexus, which was established for presumptive tax in Ilahi cotton. So this case, this point has also been violated. Then going forward, presumptive tax is in fact akin to capacity tax, capacity to earn. In this view of matter, one will have to read entry 47 in conjunction with entry 52, which provide tax and duties on production capacity of plant machinery. So Dr. Saab is saying that obviously, like in Ilahi cotton, here we have to see if that person who is holding that asset, that immovable property, does he or she have the capacity to earn? If they have a capacity to earn in future, then they can be taxed today. But unfortunately, immovable property cannot be taxed even in the future by the Federation. That is why entry 50 has been mentioned, and that is why we discussed the taxation of the Punjab Assembly taxation of immovable property on capital gain tax. So Dr. Saab has very clearly articulated all these points, and I will for our audience who have not followed, मैं सिर्फ ये कहूँगा, not followed the point, मैं सिर्फ ये कहूँगा कि डॉक्टर साहब ये कह रहे हैं कि इलाही कॉटन का जो केस था 1997 का, उसमें ये क्लियर टैक्स के प्रिंसिपल्स ले डाउन किए गए थे, जो सेक्शन 7E पूरी तरह से पूरा नहीं करा, इस वजह से वो जो है प्रॉब्लम में आ रहा है. आगे जो है मैं आई होप के आई कंप्लीट दिस आर्टिकल so that we can have one video where you will have all the points regarding section 7E and what the latest development till 2nd of December 2022. If we were to construct entry 52, now Dr. Saab is, we can say that he is being advocate for the devil, that is, he is now in favor of the government in this point, and let's see what happens. If we were to construct entry 52 of legislative list, keeping in view the expression in lieu of, it becomes evident that the legislation has the option whereby instead of invoking entry 47 for imposing taxes on income, it can impose the same entry 52 on the basis of capacity to earn in lieu of entry 40, but it cannot adopt both the methods in respect of one particular tax. That is correct. either an income can be taxed on actual basis under entry 47, or either it can be taxed in lieu of coming income or profits. But of the both the entry 47 and 52 can't be used together. So legislation, Parliament has to decide. Now the government has to decide whether it wants to defend this section 7E, under section 47, or under section 52, or under entry 52, entry 50, or entry 47, but it can't use all of them. But it cannot adopt both of these, since under section 80C and 80CC, these were sections of the previous income tax law, Income Tax Ordinance 1971. The imposition of the presumption tax is the substitution of normal tax. Thank you. And the levy and recovery of income tax, the same is in consonant with entry 52. चले, तो आई होप कि आप फॉलो कर रहे हैं कि बात कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की हो रही है। फाइनेंस एक्ट ने जो किया और नेशनल असेंबली ने किया, उन्होंने तो गलती की। कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में ये पावर मौजूद है कि नहीं, तो ये फाइनली तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट डिसाइड करेगा। लेकिन अभी जब सिंध हाई कोर्ट में और लाहौर हाई कोर्ट में गवर्नमेंट अपना डिफेंस ले रही है, तो वो सिर्फ या तो एंट्री 47 का सहारा लेते हुए वो कह सकती है कि टैक्सेस ऑन इनकम के अंदर ये डीम्ड इनकम आती है। मेरा भी यही पॉइंट है। The point that I have made in previous videos on section 7E, I have also stressed that with due respect to Dr. Ikramulhaq, to Shabar Zaidi Saab, all these tax legends and experts, that, and Dr. Saab is also saying the same thing, I think, that the government has to defend this section either under entry 47 of the fourth schedule of the Constitution, or entry 50, or entry 52. It can't use all of these sections. So if it is using 47, it has to show this deemed income is income for the person, which I think as the case and the time proceeds is becoming difficult for the government to show, unless the government can pull a rabbit out of its hat, a legal rabbit. Dr. Saab is correct, and this law has no foundation. Moving forward and closing this Zoom session, thank you very much for watching it. I apologize that for the past few weeks, I was not able to make these videos. Now, since these videos are in English, और अब उर्दू में भी है, अंग्रेजी में भी है, तो I hope कि I have been able to explain in simple terms this very useful article, which you should keep on reading and keep on following what is happening with section 7. Let's head to the conclusion, because I have gotten my refreshment. Coke and Jalal Sons is very popular. Let's see what my host wants. Fresh hot sandwich. So I'll be concluding this video and article of Dr. Ikramulhaq. Dr. Saab, thank you very much for your lifetime contribution, for us to learn from you every day, from every article, from every book from you. So the website refreshes after some time. So that's why it moves up. G, while interpreting an entry in legislative lists, it should be given widest possible meaning, does not mean the parliament can choose to tax an income which is no rational sense can be regarded as a citizen's income. Okay? This quote has been taken verbatim from the case of Ilahi Cotton, and in Shahid Parvez versus Ijaz Ahmed and others, 14-member bench of Supreme Court held, this is very important, where the Supreme Court deliberately and with the intention of settling the law pronounces upon a question of law, such pronouncement of law is declared law. It can be treated as mere, it cannot be treated even, and lead us to say that Article 189, the law by the Supreme Court, becomes binding on all forums, including Parliament and all institutions. The legislative violated them both by inserting section 7E, which is not income at all, but tax on immovable property for its exclusive legislative competence rests with the federation or with the provinces. So to conclude and then again highlight my own point, first to conclude Dr. Saab's article that the government has to defend itself by using either entry 47, 50 or 52 and most probably, I think, which is my conclusion, that the government should defend itself on imposing this section under 7E tax on deemed income under the entry 47 of part 1 of the federal legislative list of the first schedule of the Constitution of 1973 of Pakistan. And in doing so, it should show that deemed income includes such income which can be constructed and collected from a person when he holds assets of certain value. And a parallel to this is already given in, if I'm not making a mistake, in section 23 of the Income Tax Act 1961 of India, the Indian income tax law, where a person who has homes or houses, more than 2 houses, is deemed to have earned income on the third, fourth house he possesses. So there, the Supreme Court has given a verdict that this tax on deemed income on the third, fourth, fifth house is income. So here also, the Supreme Court, I think, should decide that this is an income under entry 47. And the point I'm making is that keeping in mind the history of tax evasion in Pakistan, the government should put up a defense that where taxes on income gives the power to tax income, it also, entry number 47, gives the power to the parliament, according to constitution, to tax those income that are being evaded. And it is a fact that people holding properties more than they need, that is their immediate need, the few properties that they hold for their home, their own residential as well as business needs, the extra properties that people are holding, people are renting them out. And there can be case made for evasion of taxes. And entry number 47, when we link evasion of taxes with entry 47 and then consider this deemed income, then I think the parliament has the power to, because if they tax, say, 1 million people who come under section 7E, 80 to 90% of those people will be genuinely taxed because they have not declared though income coming from those extra properties. And as far as 10 to 20% who will, genuine taxpayers who will be hurt by this section, I think the petitioners who will be genuinely hurt can take the plea of fundamental rights, and their taxation being discriminatory or confiscatory. And that argument can be for 20% of people who are genuine taxpayers who are being hurt by this section 7E, and 80% of people having so much wealth and earning so much income on those immovable property but not declaring them. This section 7E should be taxed since for their declared on their declared income, at least on their declared property at least. So this is my conclusion with all due respect from my teacher, Dr. Ikramulhaq, and see you in the next video next Friday. Do join our WhatsApp group to get a live invite so that you can participate in this video. And now you're watching most probably this video on YouTube. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. And I will see you नेक्स्ट फ्राइडे। मुझे उम्मीद है कि जो है आप अब इन वीडियोस को ना सिर्फ जो है टैक्स लॉ को समझने के लिए देखेंगे, बल्कि अब जब ये अंग्रेजी में है तो आप जो एक्चुअल लॉ है और जो टैक्स की वोकैबुलरी है उसका इस्तेमाल भी मेरी इन वीडियो से, टैक्स दोस्ती से आप सीख सकेंगे। आपसे मुलाकात होती है। थैंक यू वेरी मच। टेक केयर।